Welcome to Investor Secrets Unlocked. My name is Jason Rodriguez. On this channel, what we do is we help real estate investors learn and make profits. So today we're gonna talk about the top 3 marketing strategies that I use in my business to get deals flowing in every single day, just like today. So make sure you subscribe and you click the bell. First, I wanna come and say, there's a lot of strategies on how to get deals. No question about that. I hear it all the time. People come to me, they're like, hey, what about this? What about that? What about this? And I always say that a lot of them will work. The question is how much effort, cost, time, and dollars will it cost you to get that deal? Some leads are gonna be like, maybe, some of them will be free, some of them will cost a little bit more. But here I found that these will create the consistency, in my business at least. So one of them, and then in no particular order, but I will come and say this. Number 1 for me is out-of-town homeowners. So I like the out-of-town homeowners. That's number 1. Number 2 is going to be the building out a database, whether it be yours and someone else. We'll take a deeper dive in that. And then I love burnt out landlords. So we're going to talk a little bit about them, but let's go into number 1. So number 1, out-of-town homeowners. Why do I like the out-of-town homeowners a lot? And the number 1 reason I like out-of-town homeowners is that they are not emotionally involved, or they don't live in it. So it's not their flowers, it's not their curtains, it's not their rugs, they have a disassociation to it. And because of that, if they've owned it for a long time, they built some equity, and they are able to a lot of times give us a better price. Also, a lot of times the property may need some repairs. They might not have seen it in 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. So, and when they're done, they're pretty much done. They want to make some money and then they want to go. So that's one of my favorite areas, and we hit them all the time. We've been, sending messages and marketing to them for years and years and years. It's one of my top ones. So what do we do from there? So a lot of times people say, so Jason, out-of-town homeowners, how do you communicate them? What do you do? So we, a lot of times will get, in the old days, we just sent direct mail, but now there's a lot of technology. So we will get their information and we skip trace them, meaning we'll send it to another company. They'll give us all the information. We give them the address. They give us a lot of times the phone number, sometimes the email, associated phone numbers to them, any updated address to where the actual homeowner lives. And what we will do, our favorite, number 1 is to call. Number 2 is we send them a text message. Number 3 is we will do send the message directly to their voicemail. Number 4, we may send them a postcard. And number 5, we may send a letter. And we may put it in that order, depending on the deal. But usually it's either, especially in today's time, the fastest ones are gonna be call, text blast, and maybe leave a ringless voicemail type situation to them. And that level of communication we use on a lot of the other strategies also. So those are just modalities on how we talk to them. It just doesn't have to just be one. So that's homeowners, out-of-town homeowners. Number 2 is building that database, right? So when I love databases, and I think a lot of people think about their database, and when they think about it, sometimes when they're starting off, it's a small database. But what I've learned was, even when I first got started, was that my database could be small, but if I can connect with somebody else that has a database, and maybe that there's not that one somebody, maybe there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and definitely wherever you live, there's gonna be some investors that have databases. And what I like to do is to connect with those investors. I'm building my own database, number 1, but then I wanna go, ironically enough, while building my database, I find other investors that they have databases. So that's why when I build mine, they kind of fall into the same bucket. And so what I tend to do is if I'm looking for a property, and let's say I go to a meetup group. So where do I find these people? I'll go to a real estate investment club, or a meetup group, or Facebook group online. That's where I would start to build my database. When I talk to the other investors that are there, let's say a meetup live, I'm there live, and there's 50 people in the room. Out of those 50 people, a lot of times, a few of them, especially the medium to full players in the room that they've done a few deals already, they have a database. So what I like to do is I like to tell them, hey, I'm looking for a deal. Do you have a deal? They may say no. I say, do you know somebody that has a deal? And then they you see their head turn like a little puppy, like, maybe. And I say, well, do you have a database? And they're like, yeah, I got a database. Can you do me a favor? Can you hit your database and ask them, do they have a deal? Do they know anybody that has a deal? And sure enough, If I ask 2, 3, 4, 5 people to do that, within that week, I get a lead coming in. And all of that came from none of my money. And will they make some money? Absolutely. But I started off with zero money and built the database, simultaneously got them to work their database, and I find deals that way. And it's a win-win for them. So I like the whole win-win situation. So that's databases. And then once we get the database, we go through the deal, we do the 5 steps to success, work through all that, and make that happen. So my number 3 is burnt out landlords, right? Why do I like a burnt out landlord? So I really like a burnt out landlord because number one, I'm able, here's a fact. The average landlord gets burnt out within 5 years. Also another fact is the average landlord has never taken the time to truly educate themselves on what it is to be a landlord. They just heard, I can make some cash flow. I can make, checks in the mail type of deal. And what happens is it's a little bit more complicated than that because you got tenants, termites, and toilets, as they say in the industry, and they're very real, especially the tenant one. So the burnt out landlord, if I already know the fact that after 5 years they're looking to start selling, then a lot of times what I will do is I will hunt and I build a list of just people that have their property for 5 years. So I could buy the list. So people say, Jason, where do you get a list of that? Well, I could buy the list. You go to a list company like ListSource or something like that. I'll buy the list, which is not expensive. It's cheap, maybe, I don't know, a few bucks. And then they will give me a list of all the landlords' properties that have homeowners that own the property for more than 5 years to, like, say 10 years, that live in town. And then I will, do the same modalities that I did for the other one. So I'll call them. I'll skip trace them. I can call them, text them, voicemail them. I can send postcards or letters. But here, that's all cool, right? But that's kind of the elementary way. I like to do a 2.0 on it. 2.0, right? So what do I mean by that? So the best deals that I get are when I stack my strategies. Let me give you an example of a stack. So let's say I have a landlord, a burnt out landlord. Let's say they have it for 5 years. What if they had just recently filed an eviction, right? They filed an eviction and they have a pre-foreclosure and maybe they're going through a divorce. Maybe they owe taxes on the property. So now they got all these problems. Imagine if I could get a list of landlords that have all these problems: a divorce, a foreclosure, they owe property taxes, they just filed an eviction. That person is probably little motivated or highly motivated in life. Highly. And could you imagine if I have 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000 of those people? Do you think it would be a lot easier to buy a deal from that person? When I go down and I start asking them, hey, are you looking to sell? Are you motivated? There's going to be a lot of them that are like, I just want out. I want freedom. I want freedom from the property, and I'm willing to give a discount and make a good deal. So those are my best my best strategies. But the most important part of it, if you want to really 2.0 this, is to stack. Look for multiple challenges that a person is going to have, a seller is going to have, and then solve. Be of massive value to them. Solve their problem. And if it's a burnt out landlord, then their problem is to get rid of that headache. So I know that a lot of you want to learn a lot more about how to come and do the stacking and stuff. So we offer a free training. And if you're looking for the free training, we put a link in the description. So just check it out. It'll go a lot more in depth on exactly how we get these deals, how we do the stacking and all of that. So all this is good. But one of the things that I see is that most investors, they try, especially they're starting off, they don't put enough volume into it. They're like, hey, let me try a little bit of it and see how it works. Let me try a little bit and see how it works. But I got to come and tell you that that's a big mistake. My suggestion is that you build out a written plan of exactly what you're going to do. Make sure that you have enough leads coming in that help you to get those deals. And that's what we do. Every single month, every single month in the office, we build out a marketing plan. And that plan is designed to generate 100 leads. We talk more about like that marketing plan. I'm going to do another video to talk more about the marketing plan on 100 leads, because that's the goal, is how do I get 100 leads in a month? How do I get 100 leads in a month? That's how we run our business. How do we get 100 leads in a month? Because we know if we get 100 leads in a month, out of that 100, we could do 1, 2, or 3 deals, maybe even more. But that's my minimum goal. So if your phone is not ringing and you're not getting leads in, that might be one of the problems, and I'm gonna do another video just for that. So here's a question I have. I have a question for you, and you can answer it in the comments. The question is, what's your best marketing strategy that gives you deals every single month or as often as you want? What's your best marketing strategy that gives you deals every single month? Put that in the comments. I want to hear all about it. We all want to hear about it. So the 3 top marketing strategies that we use, out of all of them, and there's a lot of marketing strategies, but the top 3 that I like is Town Homeowners, building my database while talking to other investors and jingling their database to find us deals, and then working with burnt out landlords to provide massive value to them and stacking those lists. So that's what those are my favorite. That's what we learned here. And so if you're new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell, because we put out new videos every single week. And if you're interested in the free training, it'll be down in the description. It's pretty awesome training. I think you're gonna love it. Thank you for your time. My name is Jason Rodriguez, and I'm out.